we go. Another day from the desk of Apacolips Dogs to God's Entertainment with a quick word of reflection and a quick word of inspiration in the mirror of truth. Ramadan Mubarak. Man, this is a great experience thus far. I was reflecting on a few things. Many of you, well, some of you know, who know me personally, know that at one point I worked for Frito-Lay. I actually worked for Tropicana as well. And Frito-Lay and Tropicana are, there's a merge, PepsiCo. PepsiCo is, at the top, but they're all one. They're together. And that in itself is along the lines of a little brief thought this morning. I in reflection of the economic blueprint where Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about 6 to 8 of us with like minds. You know the story. One of the things he said is study the white man. He makes no excuses for his failures. He's successful, right? And so that thought came to mind as I decided to look into the origin of Frito-Lay yesterday. And it's very interesting. And it's not an accident that it was in the 30s, around 32, after the God had already, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had already recognized the God, and they were already, in that love fest of him pouring himself into the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so we know the history in terms of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is doing from that point. So I'm looking at these guys, man, and Doolins and Lay. Doolins, he had started making corn chips or what have you. Lay, of course, started dealing with potato chips. When you can look at the story yourself, it's a very interesting story. How they got started and how at some point they came together. You know what I mean? And how successful they have been. Like the world's largest savory snack company on the planet. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot in there. There's so much in there. And so when I was working with, let's say, Tropicana, I remember the route that they gave me was a dying route. You know what I mean? And what brought the route back to life mainly was consistency and going to every location. You know what I mean? With consistency. Of course, studying what's selling, what's not selling. As a sales rep, you have to look at these kind of things. And so that route went from the bottom of the list to the top 5 routes in the that distribution center. And then of course Frito-Lay, there's so much that we learned from them. One of the things is what they call it innovation. They'll try a new flavor and they'll send it out to different regions, and depending on how it does in different regions, it determines whether or not they keep that flavor or whatever. So we learned a lot from them. My thoughts for us today is that, we're going to be in big trouble with the Mahdi if we don't pay attention to what he's asking us to do. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that Mr. Lay and Mr. Doolins, they didn't necessarily like each other, but they felt the need for the merge, and that chip world and that corn chip world to become one world, and billions. I know Frito-Lay grossed $6 billion for 3 years straight when I was there. You know what I'm saying? We learned a lot from them. We learned a lot. You know what I mean? And there's nothing that we can't do together. That's our word today. From the depths of Apocalypse. Enjoy your day. Peace.